Hello and welcome back. I know it's been like a hot minute since my last video, like a real hot minute if you live in the valley. But I am on this self-help journey as well, and I've just been using the past couple of weeks to, take a step back from everything, get reacquainted with myself, be like, what is Victoria like? What does she need? What situations and people really deserve my time, energy, and talents and beautiful self? That's kind of the inspiration for this episode. So let's get started. Okay, so imagine you're having a yard sale. You lay out all these items, some you don't care much about, but other things are like pretty good value and you're hoping to make a little spending cash to save up for that thing you want. Then this person comes along and is wanting to negotiate. You've got this beautiful antique chair marked at $100 and they say, I'll give you $10 for it. And you might laugh at that offer, or maybe you're tempted. You're thinking, well, at least it would be out of my house. But deep down, you know, if you let that chair go for $10, you didn't actually gain anything. You lost something valuable and you didn't get back what it was worth. This same scenario plays out every single day. But instead of chairs and antiques, it happens with your energy, your time, your care, and your resources. Because here's the thing, there are always going to be people who want you at a discount. They want your immediate response to their texts, but they don't give the same energy back. They want your help, your listening ear, your support, but they're not available when you need it. They want your talents and your effort at work, but they don't treat you with respect. It's not that these people are always malicious or bad. Sometimes they simply don't recognize the value of what you're offering, or they just don't want to pay the cost of honoring it. But here's the thing, their offer does not define your worth. Just because someone wants something from you doesn't mean you have to give it. And just because they don't want to pay your price doesn't mean you're asking too much. So think of all your interactions as a kind of transaction. You're offering your time, energy, or resources, and the other person is offering something in return, whether that's respect, effort, care, or even literal money. You are allowed to weigh that exchange. You get to ask, does this feel fair? Do I feel drained or fulfilled when I engage here? Am I actually getting what I need? If the answer is no, then it's okay to walk away. That doesn't make you mean, it doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. If you keep giving discounts on your worth, eventually you're left empty-handed, burned out, undervalued, and resentful. People may try to convince you otherwise. They might say, well, something is better than nothing. But let's go back to that yard sale example. If you let go of your $100 antique chair for $10, you don't have the chair anymore and you don't have the actual value you needed. You're still left with nothing. But when you hold firm on your boundary, you keep your value. You still have the chair, your energy, your peace, your time. So when someone comes along who is willing to meet your worth, you can make a fair exchange. I'll admit, it is really hard for me not to feel mean when I set a boundary or tell someone no, because I am an RPP, a recovering people pleaser. This doesn't just apply to strangers or coworkers, this applies to friends and family too. Actually, especially them, because here's what often happens. When people are familiar with us, when there's history or closeness, they sometimes assume that gives them extra access. They lean on logic like, well, I did this for you, so now you owe me, or we're family, so you should just do it. But let me ask you, if someone really knows you and really loves you, shouldn't they be the ones who most want to see you thriving? Shouldn't they care the most that the transactions between you actually leave you with a full cup, not an empty one? That makes me think of something that a therapist told me once. He gave me some assignment, I can't even remember what it was, but I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, that is so selfish. My friends, my people, they need me. How could you ask me to do that? He gave the usual analogy, like you can't pour from an empty cup into other people. And then he says to me, Victoria, you no longer have a cup. You melted it down and have poured that into other people's cups. You need to focus on you. When I imagined a cup that could be melted down, I instantly thought of those 90s colorful cups, those plastic cups. Well, those are the ones. And just feel the texture. Don't completely destroy yourself just so you don't have to say no to someone. If you don't have the energy for yourself, you're not gonna be able to be there for others. You're not gonna have the currency anymore. Anyway, healthy relationships, especially close ones, aren't built on guilt, obligation, or keeping score. They're built on respect, balance, and care going both ways. So yes, boundaries apply with friends and family too. And if someone can accept that, it's not because you're wrong for setting a boundary. It's because they're uncomfortable with not getting the discount they've gotten used to. Story time. I have a real life example and anecdote from my own life. I used to have this friend who would call me all the time and it was usually 2-hour conversations, and it was mostly him just complaining about everything in his life, how he didn't like his job, how he didn't have friends, but he was never willing to do anything about it. He just complained about it, just negativity to the max. And I got to the point where every time I saw his name pop up on my caller ID, I think, okay, do I have the capacity to do this for the next 2 hours? And I got to the point where I started screening my calls. When I would pick up, he'd be like, wow, I can't believe that you picked up. And I just, it's a little title, I don't have to pick up the phone, you know? And there was one point where I was super depressed, barely had enough energy for my own self and life. And he called and he wanted to talk to me, and I was like, you know what, I've just been having a really hard time. I don't think I'll be that much fun to talk to. And he was like, well, that's all right. I just want someone to talk to other than my coworkers at work. And it's like, let me rephrase that. I do not want to talk on the phone with you right now. I feel like this scenario is like when you go to cancel a subscription and it's like, wait, where are you going? Don't worry, we'll take less currency as long as we can still get something from you. We'll give you another month at half off. And it's just no, I still don't want or need this, so it's still a waste of money. And so yeah, that's how I felt. I'm like, actually, I don't want to talk to you at all. And I'm not feeling great, so no, we're just not gonna talk at all. The tipping point was, again, when I was super depressed, was surviving. There was a day where I had reheated my soup 4 times before I actually sat down to be able to eat it, and then he calls. And I thought, I haven't picked up the phone from him in months, I haven't talked to him in months. I text back the situation hey, it's been a rough couple of, weeks or whatever. I just sat down to eat. I know I've been MIA, but I will call you once I am done eating. But then once I was done eating, I just wanted to take a nap. I was so tired. I told him, hey, I'm super exhausted. I'm not gonna be able to call you. I need to go sleep. And he sends back, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I am drained. And he goes, well, I guess I'll talk to you in a couple months. Some people really do have all the audacity. Couple months, how about never? He kept calling me the next couple of days and I didn't pick up, and he texted me why aren't you answering my calls? Because I don't want to talk to you. And I pretty much was just this friendship is not working out anymore. You're not giving me what I need. I'm obviously not giving you what you need. So friendship over. Bye. What you allow is what will continue. You teach people how to treat you. When you say no to an unfair transaction, you're not declaring the other person a villain. You're simply saying, this deal doesn't work for me. They are free to take their business elsewhere to find someone willing to give them what they want at their price. And you are free to hold on to your energy for someone who recognizes its value. Both sides are allowed to decide what they're willing to give and accept. No shame, no blame, just choice. So the next time someone tries to negotiate your worth, whether it's your time, your energy, or your peace, remember, you are not a yard sale. You don't owe anyone a discount. You don't owe anyone your time just because they want it. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they ask for it. You get to decide the value. You get to hold the boundary, and you get to save your worth for the people and opportunities willing to honor it. So stop selling yourself for $10 when you're worth $1 million. Don't let anyone convince you you're a bargain item. For those of you that like to journal or just reflect, I have a few questions to see where you fall in all this. Where in your life do you feel like you've been giving discounts on your energy or time? What would it look like if you held your full worth in those situations? What's one boundary you could start practicing this week to honor your value? How would your relationships or work life shift if you stopped selling yourself short? Thank you for spending your time and energy watching this video today. I am so glad you are here. And as always, help yourself to whatever resonated with you today and feel free to leave the rest. Help yourself feel free. Bye!